Hi everybody. So it's Friday, and at 12:30 on Fridays we've been doing these chats about yoga, wellness, life. Yoga, wellness, or life. Maybe a combination of those. And I wanted to talk today about self-image and just everything about it. You know how it affects each of us, and so definitely chime in if you have anything that you'd like to share. But for me, I'm a parent and I have 3 kids, and it comes up when they're become teenagers, and I have one that's in college right now, and I have another in high school, and then I have another one in the middle school, and it hasn't come up so much with the boys, but it's starting to come up with the female. And I am, I can relate as a woman. I can definitely relate to that, to being a female and going through all that. I'm not going to get into what's actually happening or what was said or anything like that, but it did bring awareness. I know that there's a lot of self-image stuff going on anyway, and there's been studies published just as recently as September 21st about Instagram and social media and how all these things are affecting our children who are on these social media platforms in negative ways and affecting their mental health in negative ways. So, already self-image is a tricky thing, and it's a difficult thing to navigate anyway at any age. But when you're trying to figure things out as an early teen, into those teen years, you're trying to figure things out, and on top of that, kids aren't really that nice to each other. You remember how it was, right? Little groups are formed, right? And it's all about self-esteem. The truth is, nobody has good self-esteem, at those ages. Anyway, and in fact, it was funny, I was doing some notes for this talk today, and studies have been done about the peak of self-esteem and when that occurs in people's life. Clicks. Sasha, yeah. And it's the age 60. The age of 60 is when we peak at our self-esteem. So that's when we feel like, that's when we have our best self-esteem. So can't wait for that. But yeah, you can look at, there's Wall Street Journal had an article about it. Washington Post had an article about it. CNBC.com had an article about it. Northwestern has articles about stuff. But it's this most recent one. September 14th. Sorry, I said the wrong date. Facebook knows Instagram is toxic for teen girls. That's the title of the article. So they know it's happening. But you know what? They're making money, so who cares? So anyway, this is what I found. Self-image and self-esteem. NEDC.com. Body image is frequently shaped during the late childhood and early adolescence. Oh, good, Sasha. I'm glad. So happy. But body dissatisfaction can occur in people of all ages, right? We all know that. How many of us are happy with our bodies? How many of us look in the mirror and say, you look perfect just the way you are, right? None of us do that because we've trained ourselves not to do that. We've taught ourselves and trained ourselves not to see ourselves in the best way. More on that later. But it's all ages, okay? IPL.org, 2 aspects of media causing the most damage to people's body image: advertisements and social media. Okay? At ages 13 to 18, mostly teenage girls, but boys are also being affected. So it's mostly the girls, but the boys also are being affected. Britannica.com, developing good self-concept or identity. At age 4 to 6, this is kind of like the history of the human behavior, okay? Ages 4 to 6, kids define themselves in the certain ways. My hair is yellow, right? I love how kids say that. I have yellow hair. They talk about how tall they are, or what their favorite activities are, right? And then within a few years that starts to change and it becomes more abstract. So it might be more internal, more psychological. They talk about qualities, including their competences and skills related to those of others. Come here. Brief interlude. There's going to be a little bit of noise. And then as time goes on, it becomes more about emotions and feelings and what they're passionate about or what they believe in their lives. Okay. And every child who's being raised has influencers in their lives. Some are good, some are not so good. So that all plays a part in that self-image, right, and self-esteem. Hey, Terrell. So maybe your parents are positive and they're reinforcing your positive self-image. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're shaming you all the time. Maybe they're putting you down. Maybe you have friends that you're, right now I'm talking about like that teenage age group. So maybe you have teenage friends who are influencing you to do bad things, that are not good for you because they're doing them and you want to be like them because you think they're cool when maybe they're not. So you might start doing things like not eating when you should be eating because you think you look fat because this other friend is doing that. Or sneaking out at night, or whatever the bad behavior is. But the same thing is happening in the household, right? So if you have shaming going on, if you have negative stuff going on in the house, that is going to influence you in that age group. You have to please excuse the outside noises. So, something to think about, and it's scary. It's scary as a parent, especially because, you always want what's best for your children. And one of the things as a parent, you want your children to always look at themselves in the way that you see them, especially if you're a positive parent, and you just want them desperately to see, look how amazing you are, look how much you have to offer the world. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted because there was a noise outside. But so here's what, for me, overcoming those negative body images at those young ages with children, just some thoughts that they can possibly go with. As an adult, what we can teach them, what we can tell them to try and do. So don't let body image become a focus in your home. So as an adult, hi Tony. As an adult, don't let body image become a focus in your home. Oh, you're looking kind of this or that today, or making that the theme of your conversations with each other, right? So as an adult, maybe shy away from that kind of conversation, how they look, that kind of stuff. Instead, focusing on, hey, what's going on in your life today? How do you feel about that? What do you think about this? Empowering the people in your home more, empowering them by asking them their opinions about things or to spend some time with you, stuff like that. Remind children that everyone goes through these same feelings. Somebody might be, and we know this as adults, I think a little bit more so, but like somebody might be walking around and they're acting the part. They're acting like they're confident in what they're wearing or with how they're walking or thinking or talking or whatever it is. But they're probably not. Right? They're just as judgmental about themselves as we are about ourselves, right? But they don't seem it because they're not acting like it. And guess what? We don't know them that well. So how much do we really know about them? So just reminding children, you know, in your home, and reminding ourselves too, that everybody goes through these same feelings of kind of like a low self-esteem, feeling bad about ourselves at certain times, picking on ourselves, you know? And remembering, there's gonna be some more noise outside, I apologize. Remembering that what you see in the mirror is distorted by your thinking, right? What you see in the mirror is distorted. It's not really the truth. What you see is not always reality. And what we're thinking, what's in the mind, the mood that we're in, the way that we feel that day is all affecting what we see out of our eyes, right? Isn't that interesting? Which we're going to get to more about this in a minute, but it really, all of that, right, that mental stuff is really affected by how we feed ourselves. Nutrition, reading positive things, inspirational things, right? We have to feed the brain a good amount of nutrition, not just food, but readings, what we listen to, right? All that stuff is going to help program the brain, the mind, and it's going to help us to see things in a more positive way and perhaps closer to reality rather than what our distorted thinking makes us see. So Sasha's saying what we see is not always what it really is because we have it in our head that we are one way, but the reality is that was something completely different. Exactly. So we need to train the mind. We have to train the mind with positive thoughts, positive thinking. And even though you might not really think it or feel it, train the mind to see only good things about yourself. You look in the mirror, you say, baby, you look good today, right? Whatever it takes. I love your hair like that, right? I'm wearing my hair back today and I'm like, oh man, okay, I'm doing a thing about self-image. You know what I'm gonna do? Leave it. Because this is exactly what we do to ourselves, right? Oh, the hair doesn't look perfect, or, you know, somebody's gonna judge me this way or that way. Leave it. You have your hair that way. Leave it. And not only leave it, but love it. And tell yourself, girl, I love your hair like that. You look amazing. Okay, so, right, it's about training the mind. And the more we do that, the more we're naturally gonna be thinking those things and going that way. And I'm not saying like a false sense of high self-esteem. You know, I'm not saying like delusional, to be delusional, but not to go so heavily towards that negative stinking thinking, as they say, stinking thinking. Stop looking at pictures on social media. They are not real. So I'm a yoga teacher, and you know, this whole thing about Instagram not being good for teenage girls and boys as well, and how Facebook owns that company, right? Facebook owns Instagram. They know that it's not good for the mental health of kids, of anybody. Let me just put that out there, of anybody. But especially in the developmental years when you're building your self-esteem, right? You're learning how to feel about yourself. So yesterday, I was thinking about all this self-image stuff with my children, and I go on Instagram, and one of the first pictures I see is an influencer who is like half naked. She only has this little top on, super like the belly like totally in and skinny, right? Tight pants. And over 2,000 likes on this photo, if not more. I don't know, she must have started following me at some point, so I was just being nice, so I followed her back. So then I unfollowed her, I went to her page, and I was so disgusted because this is exactly the image I am not interested at all in promoting or supporting at all. So I went to her page and she has, oh my God, so many followers, 22,000, I have no idea. It might have been more than that. But either way, I don't understand it. I don't understand why people are following that and encouraging that. I really don't. It's not me taking a picture of myself half naked for your benefit, right? It's for me to feel good about myself, right? How many likes can I get, right? So it's so damaging. It's so damaging mentally, not just for the people looking at the picture, but it's for the person posting it. It's so damaging. So anyway, I unfollowed her because first of all, I don't even know her. And I just don't support it. I really just don't support it. Hi, Elish. So I have such a hard time with that, you know? So I'm a yoga teacher, and a lot of yoga stuff also that you see are teachers, people, influencers, trying to, you know, be in the perfect yoga pose, or they're half naked again, you know, and they're doing all these yoga things half naked and look at me. I unfollow those people. I don't even go there. When I train people to teach yoga, I tell them that I frown upon that. It's not the right image as a yoga instructor to be putting out into the world, because yoga is about inclusion, right? Also, it's about love all around. I don't want somebody to be looking at a picture of me standing on my head and, you know, half naked and thinking, oh man, I wish I could do that. You know, oh my God, look at how amazing she is. No, I don't need 5,000 likes to let me know that standing on my head is amazing. And I don't want, my purpose in life is not to make other people feel bad about themselves, right? This is what I feel is a part of the responsibility of being a yoga instructor, a yoga teacher, a human being. So the pictures on social media that we see are not just triggering for a lot of people. They're inflammatory for a lot of people, but they're also fake, right? We all know this. A lot of them are airbrushed or manipulated in some way. It's amazing. If you have the right program to edit photos, it's amazing what you can do. It's just unbelievable. I mean, on the filters that we see, like Instagram has filters that you can do, or Snapchat, or right? You see those filters, but if you have the right camera program, ooh, baby, you can, lots of things. You don't want wrinkles? Okay, no problem. We'll just erase those, right? So all those pictures, they're not real. Yeah, Photoshop, they're just not real. So with me raising my children, I'm trying to remind them of that too. Stop looking at these pictures. If you are, just remember, they're not real. Same thing about advertisements on the television, right? None of that's real. It's all about selling a product, right? We live in a capitalist marketplace. So pretty much everything is about making money. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm also going to tell my children, or if you have a household full of people, right? Do things that make you happy. Feel good by doing good by you and by those around you, right? So the happier that we feel in ourselves by doing good for ourselves and those around us, the better self-esteem we're going to have for ourselves. So doing good, in my opinion, is taking care of ourselves, right? So eating right, exercising, like we were talking about before, listening to good things that are inspirational, reading inspirational things, right? Feeding our minds and training our minds and our brains so that our eyes can see appropriately. Okay, so learn about nutrition, right? Learn about it at a young age, right? Learn about it. Learn about good health and what those things do to benefit the way that you think. Practice those things. Feel the best about yourself, okay? Gut health. It's very important. The gut is attached to the brain. It actually is, okay? You can look at like the physiology of the human body, anatomy, all that. What happens in the gut directly affects the brain. And this is a little experiment that anybody can do to realize that. We all know this already. Have a cup of coffee. Notice the difference, how you feel before and after. Eat a meal, right? Eat something, right? Go from not eating and how you feel mood-wise to then eating something. Know the different types of foods that you're putting in your body that create certain reactions, maybe like a hyperactivity reaction or a sluggish reaction, right? People always talk about that with like Thanksgiving meals, you know, if they overeat that turkey, the L-tryptophan thing, right? They eat the turkey and then like, right, everybody's sleeping on the couch. Why are you eating the turkey? I don't understand that. If it's making you feel that like sluggish, why are you eating it? I don't understand. So the more we understand about what reaction our body is getting from the different things we're putting in it, we will understand the connection between the gut health and the brain. And the brain is showing us what to think and how to feel and the hormones and just how to be in life, right? Okay, so for those of us who are no longer children, here's my question for you. If you could go back and talk to yourself as a child, as an adult to that child, what would you go back and tell yourself about your own body, your own image back then? What would you tell yourself? Here's another little exercise you can do. Find some old pictures of yourself from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it is, right? These days we have, hi Stephanie, we have digital photos all the time popping up in our faces. I don't know about you guys, but I get these time hop things. It used to be called time hop. Maybe that doesn't exist anymore. But, you know, Facebook, places like that are telling me, and Google Photos, right? This is 7 years ago. This is what happened. Hi, Jonah. Right? And I look at the picture of myself from those years ago and I'm like, wow, my hair wasn't like so gray or, you know, whatever it is. But this is an exercise that you can do, right? If you're having a self-image crisis in your life or whatever it is, go back. Look at the photos of yourself from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? And remember how you felt about yourself back then. And then relate that to now, right? Relate that to now and pictures of yourself now that in 5 or 10 years from now you're going to see. You're going to look back on and you're going to say, I didn't look so bad. Why was I feeling so bad about myself? I looked pretty good. Okay? Remember that genetics play a big part. Okay? So love all of that. Love all of that. Genetics are amazing. Genetics are amazing. We are all medical marvels. You know what I mean? We're all miracles that we're even breathing and alive today. It's a miracle that you're here. So think about the genetic makeup of all that, of you, right? Your human body, right? What it took to get this body together, to breathe and be here today, right? Think about all that. It's amazing, okay? So genetics plays a big part. So instead of saying, oh, when I get older, I'm definitely gonna have my father's nose, or You know, look at the way my mother walks around. I'm going to have that problem with my knees or whatever it is, right? Just love it. Love it all. Live your healthiest life that you can live in spite of the genetic side that you love or don't love. And just give yourself the best, healthiest life that you can so that you can feel the best about yourself today. Don't shame your body at all. Don't shame your body, your image at all. When you look in the mirror, when you think about yourself, you know what's funny about mirrors? If you don't have mirrors around, this is another little experiment that you can do. Try it for just one day, maybe 2 days. Try and stretch it out where you don't see yourself at all. You don't see any image of yourself whatsoever. And then bring it back in and notice what you look like then. It's such a great exercise to do. When I was in college, we were on semester. We went on a boat for the semester and we had no mirrors. None of us knew what we looked like. We didn't know if there was a booger in our nose or, you know, the eyebrows were too fuzzy. We had no idea. No idea. When I came home and I looked in the mirror for the first time, it was like seeing a brand new person. It's really an incredible exercise to do. Try it out. But if you are shaming, if you are in that place where you're shaming yourself, if you're just having one of those days, you know, feeling bad about myself today, I don't like this or that, right? Train your mind to immediately replace that thought with something positive. That positive thought can be about yourself. It could be about something else around you, nature, life, whatever it is, okay? But the closer you get to yourself, the better it's going to be for your own self-image and self-esteem, right? So eventually try to get there. Try to get there about yourself. And maybe you write a list of things to have them ready to replace that negative thought with. There it is, right on my mirror. There's a whole list of things that I really love about myself. Okay, this is my last little tip here. How we look at others, how we think about others, how we shame others, is that really a reflection of how we feel about ourselves? What do you guys think? Can we change that narration? Can we look at others in the best light possible? Maybe not all the time, but little by little, more and more each day. What do you think? Is that something that we can do? Thanks again for being here. I'll be back next Friday if we have a good topic again. We'll see. Check our YouTube channel, Kara Yoga, and making yoga fun. And we'll see you for the next video. Thanks, everybody. Bye.